My name is Diego, and I was there when Emily's story changed forever. It was a bright spring afternoon on April 15th when she stood in the park, her heart racing as she faced her ex-husband for the first time since their divorce. The sun filtered through the leaves, illuminating her determined expression as she smiled, hoping for a civil conversation. Little did she know, the encounter would unravel secrets she thought were buried. The air was fragrant with the scent of fresh grass, and the cheerful sound of birds chirping filled the atmosphere with a sense of hope. Yet, beneath her calm exterior, she smiled but trembled, the weight of their shared past pressing down on her. How can blood turn to poison like this? As she braced herself for their conversation, Emily felt her phone buzz in her pocket, a message from an unknown number. A flicker of unease washed over her as she glanced down, but she quickly dismissed it, prioritizing the impending discussion. What nobody knew was that hidden truths were lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to explode into chaos. That message, though ignored, would soon prove to be a catalyst, unraveling everything she thought she had left behind. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue across Emily's cozy suburban home. The air was filled with the mouth-watering aroma of her grandmother's famous chicken pot pie, baking to perfection in the oven. Fresh grass from the yard mingled with the scent of home-cooked comfort, creating a sense of tranquility that enveloped the living room. Birds chirped happily outside, their melodies weaving a cheerful backdrop to the evening's gathering. Emily stood at the kitchen counter, a nostalgic smile playing on her lips as she prepared the finishing touches for the family dinner. She had always cherished these moments, embracing her role as a devoted mother and the heart of her family. Today, the table was set with her family's traditional recipes, each dish a testament to the generations that came before her. As she stirred the gravy, she recalled the countless times her grandmother had taught her the importance of family and the recipes that bound them together. "Dinner's almost ready, kids. Can you help set the table?" Emily called out, her voice warm and inviting. Her two children, Sarah and Ben, scampered into the dining room, eager to assist. The laughter of her children filled her heart with warmth, momentarily drowning out the lingering tension she felt in the back of her mind. Everything seemed perfect. Just then, a soft knock interrupted the evening's harmony. Emily glanced at the clock, puzzled. She hadn't expected anyone else. Her heart raced as she opened the door, revealing her estranged sister, Sarah, standing on the doorstep. Tension rippled through the air, palpable and thick. "Emily," Sarah said, her voice a mix of hesitation and resolve. "Can we talk?"
"Oh my God, Sarah! I can't believe you're here!" Emily exclaimed, her heart sinking with a mix of surprise and anxiety. Years of unresolved issues flooded back, memories tinged with betrayal and hurt. "Can I come in?" Sarah asked, her eyes darting nervously behind Emily. "Of course," Emily replied, stepping aside to let her sister enter. As Sarah crossed the threshold, the scent of the chicken pot pie wafted through the room, a stark contrast to the tension that now filled the space. The two sisters stood awkwardly in the living room, a silence growing between them, heavy with the weight of their past. Emily's mind raced with memories of childhood, both sweet and bitter, times when they had been inseparable and times when betrayal had torn them apart. "Emily, I know things have been strained between us," Sarah began, her voice trembling slightly. "I didn't come here to fight. I just wanted to see you." "Is that really all?" Emily asked, crossing her arms defensively. "It's been years, Sarah. You just disappeared, and I had to pick up the pieces." "I know, and I'm sorry. I had my reasons," Sarah replied, her tone pleading. "But I'm here now, and I need to tell you something important." Emily's heart raced, her mind spinning with possibilities. "What could possibly be so important that you had to show up now?" she challenged, feeling the familiar sting of betrayal creep back into her chest. Before Sarah could respond, a sudden commotion erupted from the children in the dining room. "Mom! Mom, come quick!" Ben shouted, his voice filled with urgency. Emily's heart raced as she exchanged a concerned glance with Sarah. "What's going on?" she asked, rushing towards the dining room. The moment she entered, her heart sank. The table was set, but her children were not focused on the dinner. Instead, they were gathered around a box that had been tucked away in the corner of the room. "Look what we found!" Sarah exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. Though Emily could sense something darker beneath her sister's enthusiasm. "What is it?" Emily asked. Her curiosity piqued despite the unease in her stomach. "It's an old box," Ben said, pointing to the dusty container that had clearly been there for some time. "It was in the basement." A chill ran down Emily's spine. "The basement?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Suddenly, the warmth of the evening felt distant, overshadowed by a sense of foreboding. The smell of the pot pie faded into the background as Emily's mind raced with memories of the basement, a place filled with remnants of the past, both cherished and painful. "Open it," Sarah urged, a hint of impatience creeping into her voice. With trembling hands, Emily knelt beside her children and lifted the lid of the box. Inside, she found old photographs, letters, and trinkets, each piece whispering secrets from the past. But one item caught her eye, a faded envelope addressed to her, with no return address. The handwriting was unmistakable. "Emily," Sarah said softly, her gaze fixed on the envelope, "you need to read it." As Emily opened the letter, her heart raced. The words scrawled across the page sent shockwaves through her. It was a confession, detailing a betrayal that would shatter everything she thought she knew about her family and her past. In that moment, the room felt like it was closing in on her. The comforting smells of home turned bitter, and the warmth of the family dinner faded into an icy silence. Emily's heart sank as the truth began to unravel before her, revealing a web of deceit that had been woven around her for years. This was not just about family dinners or cherished recipes. This was about the hidden truths that lay beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. As she read on, the world around her blurred, and she realized that everything she thought she knew was about to change forever. Emily gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Mark noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." Emily paced the living room, the faint scent of rain on pavement wafting in through the open window. She had spent the entire day preparing for the family dinner, her heart filled with hope as she envisioned the laughter and warmth that would soon fill her home. But now, with the clock ticking closer to the hour, she couldn't shake the growing unease that had settled within her since she received that text. "Check your basement," it had read, sent from an unknown number. Her mind had raced, trying to decode the message, but no conclusions came to her. Was it a prank, a cruel joke? As the evening wore on, the message lingered in her thoughts like a stubborn stain, refusing to fade away. When she finally tucked her children, Sarah and Ben, into bed, sleep eluded her. She tossed and turned, the strange noises from the basement creeping into her consciousness. The house, once filled with the sound of birds chirping outside, now felt eerily silent, save for the occasional creak of the floorboards. The uneasiness clawed at her insides. Cultural reflection. In the living room, it hurt like hope. The very idea of her safe haven turning into a source of dread felt foreign. She had fought so hard to create a peaceful home for her kids, and now here she was, anxious about what lay beneath her feet. "Maybe it's nothing," she whispered to herself, but the thought brought her little comfort. Finally, the weight of curiosity tipped the scales, and she made her decision. With hesitant steps, she approached the basement door, the handle cold beneath her palm. Taking a deep breath, Emily opened the door, its hinges groaning in protest. The darkness yawned before her, a stark contrast to the cozy living room she had just left behind. "Oh my God," she muttered, the words escaping her lips in a breathless whisper. She hesitated, glancing back towards the stairs,
but her feet had other plans. As she descended the stairs, the smell of damp earth filled her nostrils, mixing with the lingering scent of rain. The dim light from her phone cast long shadows on the walls, revealing a space that felt both familiar and foreign. Boxes were stacked haphazardly, remnants of a life once shared with Mark, and yet something was amiss. Then she heard it, a soft, almost muffled sound coming from the far corner. Her heart sank. "What is that?" she muttered to herself, gripping her phone tighter. She stepped further in, the floor creaking underfoot, and as she reached the corner, the light illuminated a sight that made her blood run cold. There, half buried beneath a pile of old clothes and forgotten toys, was a box. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years, the edges frayed and the latch rusted. Emily knelt down, her hands trembling as she brushed away the debris. She could feel her pulse quickening, the mystery of the text now standing right before her. "What are you hiding, Mark?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. It was a question she had asked herself countless times since their separation, but now it felt like she was on the brink of uncovering a truth she wasn't sure she was ready for. With a deep breath, she pried the box open. Inside, her heart raced as she discovered a collection of old photographs, letters, and, most shockingly, documents that detailed a life that had been hidden from her. Her hands shook as she pulled out a letter addressed to Mark, its contents revealing secrets she never imagined existed. "No way! This can't be real!" she gasped, her mind racing. Just as she processed the shocking revelation, she heard the sound of footsteps above her. Panic surged through her. Was someone home? Had Mark come back? Before she could react, the basement door swung open, light spilling in from the living room. Jason's silhouette filled the doorway. "Emily, what are you doing down there?" he called, his voice laced with concern. She quickly stuffed the letter back into the box, her heart racing. I found something," she stammered, struggling to keep her voice steady. Jason furrowed his brow, stepping down the stairs. "What do you mean? Are you okay?" "No, Jason, I'm not okay," she snapped, the frustration spilling over. "I just received this weird message, and now I think there's something down here that Mark has been hiding from me." His expression shifted, a mixture of skepticism and intrigue crossing his face. "What kind of message, and what have you found?" Emily glanced back at the box, feeling the weight of the secrets it contained. "I can't believe this. It's like he's been living a double life or something." Jason stepped closer, his curiosity piqued. "Show me," he said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. As Emily hesitated, a mixture of fear and determination coursed through her. She knew she had to confront whatever truth lay ahead, even if it shattered everything she thought she knew about her family. Reflection, that moment in the basement changed everything. With a nod, she took a deep breath and opened the box fully, ready to face whatever revelations awaited her. Emily took a deep breath. "We need to have a serious conversation." Mark tensed up. About what exactly? Emily stood in the kitchen, her hands trembling slightly as she gripped the edge of the counter. The aroma of fresh pancakes wafted through the air, mingling with the distant hum of traffic outside, a reminder of the world moving on outside her home. She glanced at the clock, realizing her children would be home any minute. But the text message from the unknown number replayed in her mind like a haunting echo. "Check your basement." With a deep breath, she pushed her unease aside. What could possibly be waiting for her down there? The basement had always been a place of storage and forgotten memories, but now it felt like a dark pit holding secrets she wasn't ready to confront. Just as she made up her mind to ignore it, Sarah and Ben burst through the front door, their laughter filling the living room with warmth. "Hey, Mom, what smells so good?" Sarah called, her eyes lighting up at the sight of breakfast. "Pancakes! You two can help me finish up," Emily replied, forcing a smile. But her heart wasn't in it. The weight of the text loomed larger than the stack of pancakes on the counter. After breakfast, Emily decided it was time. "Guys, I need to check something in the basement. Why don't you go play outside for a bit?" she suggested, trying to sound casual. "Okay, but hurry up. I want to show you my new skateboard trick," Ben exclaimed, racing out the door. Emily waited until she heard the distant laughter of her children outside before heading down the creaky wooden steps. The smell of dampness enveloped her, and the darkness felt oppressive. She flicked on the light switch, and the bulb flickered reluctantly to life, casting eerie shadows on the walls. As she scanned the room, her gaze landed on an old, dusty box tucked away in the corner. With a mix of apprehension and determination, she opened the box, revealing a collection of old family photographs and knickknacks. But beneath it all lay a weathered journal. She could hardly believe her eyes. It belonged to her mother, filled with cryptic entries and references to a family secret. Emily's heart raced as she flipped through the pages. Words like betrayal and truth jumped out at her, each line more disturbing than the last. "Oh my God," she whispered to herself, her hands shaking as she clutched the journal. "What is this?" The sound of footsteps startled her, and she turned to see Sarah standing at the top of the stairs, her expression a mix of curiosity and concern. "What are you doing down there, Mom?" she asked, trying to peer into the dim light. "Just looking for something," Emily replied, her voice shaky. She didn't want to drag Sarah into whatever mess this was. But Sarah stepped down the stairs, crossing her arms defensively. "You're not hiding something from me, are you? Because if you are, I need to know. It's like you're keeping secrets." "Secrets? No, of course not," Emily said, but the words felt hollow. "Then why were you texting someone? I saw your phone," Sarah pressed, her tone sharp. Emily's heart sank. "I wasn't texting anyone. I received a message, but it's nothing, Sarah, I promise." "Right, because it's totally normal to get creepy messages and not tell your daughter?" Sarah retorted, her voice rising. "What else are you hiding? Is it about Dad?" The mention of Mark's name struck a nerve. "This isn't about your father," Emily said, her frustration boiling over. "You don't understand what's going on here." "Oh, I don't understand? You're the one who's always been distant. Ever since the divorce, it's like you don't even care about us," Sarah shouted, her voice echoing in the basement. Emily's chest tightened. "That's not fair. I've been trying to keep our family together despite everything. I'm doing my best." "Your best? Look where that's gotten us," Sarah snapped back. And in that moment, the fracture in their relationship felt more pronounced than ever. The distance between them was palpable, a chasm filled with unspoken words and unresolved pain. As the argument intensified, Emily's eyes caught a glimpse of a familiar name in the journal, one that sent chills down her spine. "Mark?" she murmured, her heart racing. "What does he have to do with this?" "What?" Sarah asked, her voice suddenly quiet. Emily flipped to the page where the name was mentioned. "This entry, it talks about a betrayal that could tear our family apart, and it mentions someone named Mark." She felt a wave of dread wash over her. "No, it can't be," Sarah whispered, stepping closer to see the words for herself. "Mom, you need to confront him." "He's hiding something." Emily nodded slowly, her mind racing. The thought of confronting Mark filled her with dread, but the truth loomed larger than her fear. "You're right. I need to know what's going on. This changes everything." As she held the journal close, a new resolve began to form within her. The secrets buried in the past were rising to the surface, and Emily knew she had to face them head-on, for herself and for her children. But as she turned to leave the basement, a voice in her head whispered a chilling thought. What if the truth was more dangerous than she could ever imagine? "I can't believe you did this!" Emily exclaimed. Mark tried to explain, but words failed him. Emily stood in her living room, the scent of freshly made pancakes wafting through the air, mingling with the earthy smell of rain on the pavement outside. birds chirped cheerfully, as if they were unaware of the storm brewing inside her heart. She glanced at the journal on the coffee table. Its leather cover worn and familiar, yet it felt as foreign as the words that had just shattered her world. With trembling hands, she opened the journal, the pages crinkling softly under her touch. As she read through the scribbled notes and memories of her mother, she stumbled upon a passage that made her breath hitch. It spoke of late-night rendezvous, whispered secrets, and a name that felt like a dagger to her heart: Jessica. The realization hit her like a freight train. Her mother had an affair, and with it, the revelation of an unknown half-sibling. "Oh my God," Emily whispered, her voice barely rising above the sound of the rain tapping against the window. She felt her heart sink, as if it were being dragged down by the weight of betrayal. Everything she thought she knew about her family, the love, the trust, now felt like a carefully constructed facade, crumbling before her eyes. "Mom, what's wrong?" Sarah called from the kitchen, the innocent excitement in her voice contrasting sharply with the turmoil inside Emily. She quickly closed the journal, as if hiding a dark secret, and plastered a smile on her face. "Nothing, sweetheart, just lost in thought," Emily replied, her voice shaky. Ben ran into the room, his little feet pattering on the hardwood floor. "Are the pancakes ready? I'm starving!" he exclaimed, his excitement infectious, yet it only deepened the ache in Emily's chest. "Just a minute, I'll be right there," she assured him, trying to shake off the heaviness that clung to her like a shadow. But the revelation nagged at her, twisting her insides. She couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. It was as if her entire life had been a lie. Emily had always believed that family was everything, that loyalty was paramount. Yet here she was, unraveling a secret that changed everything she thought she knew about her mother and, by extension, herself. "Emily?" Linda's voice broke through her thoughts. The best friend had arrived, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "You look like you've seen a ghost. What's going on?" I found something in Mom's journal," Emily stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. She hesitated, unsure of how to explain the storm of emotions swirling inside her. She had an affair. There's someone else, a half-sibling I never knew about. Linda's eyes widened in shock. "Wait, what? Are you serious?" "Yeah," Emily replied, her breath hitching again as she recounted the passage that had unraveled her world. "I can't believe this is happening. It feels like everything I knew is just gone." Linda stepped closer, her hand resting on Emily's shoulder, grounding her amidst the chaos. "This is huge, Em, but it doesn't change who you are. You're still you, no matter what your mom did." Emily looked down, wrestling with the emotions crashing over her. "But how can I trust anything now? If she could keep this from me..."
What else is hidden in our family? The rain continued to fall outside, each drop echoing the turmoil within her. The very foundation of her family felt shaky, and she was left standing at the edge of a chasm, unsure of how to bridge the gap between the past and her present. "Maybe it's time to talk to your mom," Linda suggested, her voice steady and reassuring. "You deserve to know the truth. You're not alone in this." "I don't even know where to start," Emily admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "What if she just brushes it off? What if she doesn't want to talk about it?" "Then you make her talk about it," Linda replied, her tone firm. "You have every right to know. Don't let her keep you in the dark." Taking a deep breath, Emily felt a flicker of resolve ignite within her. She had always believed in the importance of family, but perhaps now it was time to confront the hidden truths that lay buried beneath the surface. "Okay, you're right," Emily said, determination seeping into her voice. "I need to know what really happened. I can't let this secret define me." The storm outside intensified, but in that moment, Emily felt a shift inside her. This was more than just a family betrayal. It was a journey toward understanding who she truly was. She was no longer just the devoted mother or the loyal daughter.
She was a seeker of truth, ready to uncover the layers that had been kept hidden for too long. As she stood in her living room, surrounded by the comforting scent of pancakes and the distant sound of birds, Emily knew that whatever lay ahead, she would face it head-on. The truth might hurt, but it was time to confront the shadows of her family's past. And perhaps, in doing so, she could reclaim the pieces of herself that had been lost along the way. "I can't believe this," Emily whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Mark said desperately. Emily stood in her kitchen, the rich aroma of pancakes mingling with the scent of rain on pavement that drifted through the open window. The sound of wind chimes outside whispered the soothing tune, but inside, her heart was racing. The text message still echoed in her mind, "Check your basement." It felt like an intrusion, an unexpected invitation to a dark corner of her past that she had long buried. As she flipped the last pancake, she glanced at the journal her mother had left behind. It lay open on the counter, pages fluttering slightly as a gust of wind caught it. Emily's fingers traced the handwritten notes, her pulse quickening with each revelation. Her mother had hinted at secrets that could unravel the fabric of her family. The words leaped out at her. "You have a half-sibling. Find them." She took a deep breath, the weight of the discovery settling in her chest. Oh my God, could this be true? The thought sent a shiver down her spine. She had always thought her family was whole, that the bonds she cherished were unbreakable. Yet with every line she read, the foundations of her life felt like they were shifting beneath her. "Mom, what were you hiding?" she whispered, her voice barely above a breath. After the kids finished their pancakes, their laughter faded into the background as Emily's mind raced. She needed to find her half-sibling. With a mix of hope and trepidation, she pulled out her phone and began searching social media, using the scant information from the journal. She felt like a detective piecing together a puzzle, each click of her keyboard echoing with determination. Just then, Sarah and Ben entered the kitchen, their faces still smeared with syrup. "What's up, Mom?" Sarah asked, her voice bright but laced with concern. Emily hesitated, her heart sinking. "I found something about our family." "What do you mean?" Ben chimed in, curiosity sparking in his eyes. Taking a deep breath, she gathered her thoughts. "I think I have a half-sibling. I need to find them." Sarah's expression shifted, a mix of shock and intrigue. "Wait, what? Like you have a brother or sister out there?" Emily nodded, the weight of the truth heavy on her shoulders. "I know it sounds crazy, but if it's true, we need to face this together." "I can't believe this," Sarah whispered, her eyes wide. "What if they don't want to meet us?" "Then we'll respect their choice," Emily replied firmly, her heart swelling with newfound strength. "But we owe it to ourselves to at least try." "Count me in," Ben said, his youthful enthusiasm shining through the confusion. As they huddled around the kitchen table, a sense of unity began to form. It felt as if they were embarking on an adventure, a chance to confront the shadows that had haunted their family. Emily realized then that her relationship with Sarah was starting to mend. They were both dealing with the pain of secrets long hidden. Cultural reflection. In the kitchen, it hurt like strength. "Okay, let's start by checking social media accounts," Emily suggested, pulling up her laptop. "Maybe we can find some clues." Hours passed as they scoured profiles, piecing together bits of information. Laughter mixed with moments of silence as they shared their thoughts and fears. The kitchen, once a place of simple family meals, transformed into a hub of discovery. "Look!" Sarah exclaimed, pointing at the screen. "This person has the same last name as you, Mom." Emily's heart raced. "Are you serious? Who are they?" "Let me send them a message," Sarah said, her fingers flying over the keyboard. As she typed, Emily felt a rush of anxiety. What would she say? Would this stranger even respond? Suddenly, the wind picked up outside, rattling the chimes, and for a moment, Emily felt a chilling reminder of the unknown that lay ahead. She closed her eyes, imagining the life that could have been, the sibling she never knew existed. Thought, The smell of rain on pavement brought painful memories. Just then, a notification pinged on Sarah's phone. "Oh my God, they replied!" Emily's heart raced. "What does it say?" Sarah read the message aloud, her voice trembling with excitement. "They want to meet tomorrow!" Emily's heart sank and soared simultaneously. Tomorrow? She felt unprepared, her mind spinning with possibilities. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Ben asked, his youthful face serious. "I don't know," Emily admitted, her voice wavering. "But I think it's time to face the truth, no matter how hard it might be." In that moment, surrounded by her children, she realized that they were stronger together. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it as a family, ready to uncover the secrets that had long been buried in the shadows of their past. Emily's heart raced, the weight of the impending meeting pressing down on her like a heavy fog. "What if they don't like me?" she whispered, more to herself than to her children. The thought gnawed at her, an unwelcome companion in this moment of uncertainty. Ben reached across the table, his small hand resting on hers. "Mom, they're family. They have to like you," he said earnestly. His innocent confidence wrapped around her like a warm blanket, easing some of the tension that coiled in her stomach. "Yeah, and you're amazing," Sarah added, her voice full of conviction. "You'll show them how great our family is. Just be yourself." Emily smiled, grateful for their support. "Thanks, you two. I wish I knew more about them. What if they have a completely different life?" She took a deep breath, inhaling the comforting scent of coffee brewing in the background, mingling with the lingering aroma of pancakes. "Maybe we can ask them about their life tomorrow," Sarah suggested, her brow furrowed in thought. "Like, what did they do growing up? What do they like?" "Good idea," Ben chimed in, his excitement bubbling over. "I want to know if they play video games, or if they like pizza," Emily chuckled, the warmth of laughter cutting through her anxiety. "I'm sure they like pizza, buddy. Who doesn't?" The wind chimes outside danced in a gentle breeze, their melodic sounds weaving through the air like a promise. Emily glanced out the window, watching the rain begin to subside, leaving behind glistening droplets that clung to the leaves. It was as if nature was echoing her own tumultuous feelings, stormy yet hopeful. "Let's make a list of questions tonight," Emily suggested, her resolve strengthening. "We need to make the most of our time together." "Can we ask them about the secrets?" Sarah asked cautiously, her eyes searching Emily's face for reassurance. Emily hesitated, the gravity of that question weighing heavily on her heart. "Maybe, but we should let them ease into it. I don't want to scare them away." "Okay, but we can't wait forever," Ben added, his youthful impatience evident. "Tomorrow, we'll start fresh," Emily promised, her voice firm. "We'll take it one step at a time." As the evening wore on, Emily felt a mix of excitement and dread. She glanced at the journal once more, her heart racing. Tomorrow would be a turning point, a chance to rewrite the narrative of her family, to embrace the unknown. And as her children chattered excitedly about what the future might hold, Emily realized that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, united in their quest for truth. The scent of freshly brewed coffee filled the living room, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Emily's heart. She glanced at the clock. It was nearly time for Alex to arrive. The distant sound of traffic served as a reminder of the world outside, a world that felt so disconnected from her own turmoil. The journal lay open on the table, its pages whispering secrets of the past that she was only beginning to understand. Emily took a deep breath, her heart racing. The text that had thrown her into this whirlwind replayed in her mind. "Check your basement." It had led her here, to this moment, where everything she thought she knew about her family was unraveling. The doorbell rang, and her breath hitched. "Oh my God, this is it," she muttered, wiping her palms on her jeans as she walked to the door. She hesitated for a moment, then opened it. Alex stood there, a stranger with familiar eyes. He was taller than she expected, his dark hair tousled, and his expression mirrored her own mix of anxiety and determination. "Emily?" he asked, his voice cracking slightly. "Yeah, it's me," she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. "Come in." As he stepped inside, the tension thickened the air. They moved to the living room, and Emily gestured for him to sit. "I'm glad you came," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Alex looked around, his gaze lingering on the family pictures adorning the walls. "I didn't know what to expect," he admitted, his eyes finally locking onto hers. "I mean, finding out I had a sister, it's a lot." "I can't believe this either," Emily said, shaking her head. "I thought I was the only one. Mom, she never said anything." The betrayal in her voice was palpable. Alex's expression hardened. "She didn't just keep secrets from you, she kept them from me too. I thought I was just abandoned." The hurt in his words hit Emily like a punch to the gut. Her heart sank as she realized the depth of his pain. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't know you existed until recently. I thought I was just alone in this." "Alone?" he echoed, the bitterness evident. "You had a life, a family. I was left to figure it out on my own. You have no idea how that feels." Emily felt a wave of guilt wash over her. "I can't imagine," she admitted. "But I never asked for this either. I was happy with my family, my kids, and then everything changed." There was a heavy silence, punctuated only by the distant hum of cars outside. Emily's thoughts raced, and she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. "Why did you come here, Alex?" she finally asked, her voice breaking through the tension. "What do you want from me?" "I want answers," he said, his voice steely. "I need to know why our mother kept me a secret, why she chose you." The accusation stung, but Emily understood the pain behind it. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I want to find out, together." "Together?" Alex scoffed, disbelief flickering in his eyes. "You think we can just bond over this mess?" "I don't know," Emily said, frustration creeping into her tone. "But I refuse to let her secrets tear us apart. We deserve to know the truth." "Truth?" Alex's laughter was hollow. "What truth? That we were both discarded?" A fire ignited within her. "No, that we were both loved, even if it was twisted. And we owe it to ourselves to uncover what really happened." In that moment, Emily realized they were more alike than she cared to admit. Two siblings connected by a shared history and a mother's betrayal. As she stared into Alex's eyes, searching for any hint of warmth, her phone buzzed on the table, breaking the fragile connection they were forming. She picked it up, her heart racing again as she saw Mark's name flashing on the screen. "Not now," she muttered under her breath, but something compelled her to answer. "Mark, what do you want?" "Emily, we need to talk," he said, his voice smooth but laced with urgency. "I know about Alex." Her breath caught in her throat. "What do you mean you know about him?" "I know who he is, and you need to be careful." Before she could respond, the call ended, leaving her reeling. She turned to Alex, her heart pounding. "He knows about you." "Who's Mark?" Alex's eyes narrowed, suspicion etched on his face. "My ex-husband," she replied. A sense of dread creeping in. "And if he knows about you, then we need to be careful. This is bigger than just us." The weight of the unknown loomed over them, and Emily felt the ground shifting beneath her. In that moment, she realized that everything she thought she knew about her family was about to be turned upside down, and the fight for the truth was only just beginning. "Let's figure this out together," she said, her voice steadier now. "No more secrets." Alex nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his gaze. They stood at the precipice of their shared past, ready to dive into the chaos that awaited them, together. "Enough!" Emily shouted, her voice echoing. "Please, let me speak," Mark pleaded. "There's nothing left to say," Emily finalized. Emily stood in her kitchen, the familiar scent of pancakes mingling with the damp aroma of rain-soaked pavement wafting in through the open window. The sound of birds chirping outside was a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling in her mind. She had just sent Alex off with a plate, grateful yet perplexed by the connection they had started to forge. "Can you believe this weather?" Alex had said, glancing out the window, his tone light, but Emily sensed an undercurrent of tension. "Yeah, it's nice," she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask. Now, as she stirred the batter, her heart sank with every turn of the spatula, weighed down by the secrets that had been unearthed. The journal had revealed too much, too fast, leaving her with a sense of betrayal that clung to her like a second skin. She could almost hear her mother's voice echoing in the kitchen, urging her to seek the truth, yet that truth felt like a heavy stone lodged in her throat. Just then, Sarah burst through the door, her energy lighting up the dim room. "Mom, I got an A on my science project!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with pride. Emily turned, the corners of her mouth lifting instinctively. "Oh my God, that's amazing, sweetheart!" As they hugged, Emily felt the warmth of her daughter's body and the joy of that moment, but it quickly faded when she remembered the distance that had grown between them over the past few months. "Maybe we can celebrate with a BBQ this weekend," she suggested, trying to anchor herself in the present. "Sure, but can we invite Alex?" Sarah's words were innocent, yet they struck a chord deep within Emily. I think he would like that," she replied cautiously, unsure if Alex was the right person to introduce into their family dynamic just yet. Emily watched as Sarah drifted off to her room, her heart heavy with the weight of unspoken words. They both had been hurt, struggling to navigate the murky waters of their family's past. As she flipped a pancake, Emily's mind wandered back to her brother Jason and the resentment he harbored. The last time they had spoken, their conversation had devolved into a petty argument, each digging up old wounds. She missed him, even though he had always been a source of competition and jealousy. Cultural reflection: in the kitchen, it hurt like betrayal. Later that evening, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Emily found herself sitting on the porch with Alex. They were sharing a quiet moment, the air thick with the scent of impending rain. "You know," Alex started, his voice steady, "family can be complicated, but I think we can create something better." Emily turned to him, surprised by his insight. "How do you mean?" "Maybe we can rewrite our stories, you know? Instead of being defined by what our parents did, we can choose our own paths." She pondered his words, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. "I want that," she confessed, "but it's hard to let go of what I thought was true." "Yeah, I get that," he said, his gaze earnest. "But sometimes, the hardest things lead to the most beautiful outcomes." At that moment, Emily understood that the journey ahead would not be easy, but she was ready to embrace it. The betrayal she had felt was only a part of her story, not the whole narrative. Just as she was about to reply, Sarah rushed out, her face flushed with excitement. "Mom, you won't believe what I found in the backyard!" Emily's heart raced. "What is it?" "A box! It was buried under the old tree!" The words hung in the air like a promise, each syllable pulling Emily back to the present. She felt a surge of adrenaline. Could this box hold more secrets, or perhaps a key to understanding her family's past? As they gathered around the backyard, Emily glanced at Alex, who offered her an encouraging smile. "Whatever it is, you're not alone in this anymore," he said softly. In that moment, Emily realized how far she had come from the despair that had overshadowed her life. She was ready to confront whatever lay ahead, to unravel the threads of betrayal and injustice that had woven through her family. The box opened with a creak, revealing its contents. A cascade of memories spilled out, each item whispering tales of love, loss, and resilience. And then she understood. The message about the basement had not just been a call to uncover secrets, it had been a call to reclaim her life, to redefine what family meant to her. She looked around at Sarah and Alex, the warmth of their presence filling the void that once consumed her. "Maybe we can finally find out what really matters," Emily said, her voice steady with newfound resolve. "And you, on your porch, what secrets lie buried in your past, waiting to be uncovered?"